Hello guys, finally Bitcoin has marked its culmination and we can see some clarification for building our future plans. If you recall our previous video from 17th of February when the price was somewhere here right after this significant rejection candle, which was kind of an insightful candle for me. It meant to me that it doesn't matter how high we are going to go from here, whether we are going to draw some break points here, trying to break this major resistance of 200 moving average EMA here. We are going to get back to this line to retest it in some kind of choppy manner, which we kind of did actually, and we are going to be back for the retest of this global or midterm trend line. And since the start of this yearly movement, upside movement, kind of parabolic one, as you can see it here, I told you that these two trend lines are going to be the defining ones and we have to follow them. The first one was this one because it was closer to all these levels, and usually these trend lines work out precisely and very nicely for me because the price always gets to these trend lines. Why? Because these trend lines are our points of control. And from the moment, if you recall our video from 17th of February, you remember that I told you that at this point we either have to break this resistance around 25,500, and if we flip it and secure it as support, then we are going to go higher. And if we fail to do so, we are going back at least to this long-lasting resistance, and now it has become support at that time. We are going to retest it, whether we are going to hold it or not, and all the attention had to be paid in this area where we were retesting this trend line as support. It was a no-brainer that we are going to come for the retest of it, and it worked out precisely as we expected. After we reversed here, it was the sign for me that we are going to retest it, and as soon as we retested it and started this consolidation, there were two scenarios. I was expecting rather another one. If we enable this Kijun and shift as we use it, I had hopes that probably we are going to retest it one more time, maybe with some fake out here and dive under, or reverse here, and maybe we would lose this trend line here, and that would make sense for me because we would find support of the Kijun precisely. Then we could retest the resistance here of the counter trend line, and then we would dive under and we would head straight to this final global midterm trend line. But we lost this trend line earlier, and that was a good sign for me too, because the fact that we lost it, and on the high time frame, on the daily time frame, it means that this trend line has become already our resistance. So any bounce from since then, any bounce after that, we are going to reject from this trend line as resistance unless we flip it and it becomes our support again. But the chances that we are going to have that much power to break it at this moment, when this angle of this trend line is so sharp, is very low. I'd say not more than 10-20%. And at this moment, I'm after we lost this trend line, I'm kind of sure that we are going to recover it at least by 50% this candle. We don't know exactly precisely at what time actually, but we are going to do that. And after that, on the weekend, I shared this my expectations from since we lost this trend line now, and we have this Kijun as our support locally, but sooner or later, I am sure that we are going to lose it as our support, and it will become our additional resistance alongside with the counter trend line and super trend resistance. So, and I shared on my Twitter account that after we drew this spilling candle, I suggested that we are going to consolidate somewhere here, and probably we will make some bounce either to retest this purple line's resistance that worked many times as support and resistance, and we are going to dive under it and probably retest this Kijun as resistance, and we are going to dive back under straight to this trend line as our support. Or we either continue on a stronger move and we are going to last right until this counter trend line or intersection of this trend line and counter trend line resistance, and if we enable our super trend resistance, it is going to be right here, and that would be a great spot to either for us to find support here and go for expansion, and we are going to be back for this trend line later, and we are going something like this. This is the bullish variant actually, and but the worst one, it is the one that I'm sharing right now. But my primary scenario is that we are either lose it, retest it, and go back to retest this trend line. We will have, I think we will have to retest them as support, this trend line in this spot, not here. And I think the bearish scenario is still is primary for us, and there is another bearish scenario. If we lose this, we start diving and lose it, and and we dive and close under this Kijun as resistance, then we will try to retest it. Definitely we will catch the resistance here, and we'll start descending further, then probably some recovery, and then we are going to mark this support, trend line support again. Why I am still that you will say bearish? I'm not bearish, I'm just trading and making these scenarios based on what I see. And some altcoins, even though some of them like Aptos, after they marked their peaks, and even Optimism tokens and others, although they were falling in one direction without any significant bounces since they peaked after this 2-month lasting rally, still there are some assets that only now started to draw that reversal scenario, and they look very bearish. And like for example DYDX or SNX is only starting its reversal path, and I shared it today in my Twitter account, so we have to pay attention to them. And also there are some other interesting things to support this idea on Bitcoin. Let's look at S&P. Is not very clear at the moment because it is very tight, always very tight out there. Let's look at the dollar index, DXY, and what we can see here. Locally, it is a reversal scenario, and if we continue to drop lower and we lose this trend line, this long global trend line that is going since 2021, we are going to find support somewhere 102, 103, and we are going to chop and go to the upside, in my opinion. But if we hold this trend line, and there is a high chance that if we even lose this trend line temporarily, we are going to be bought back very fast, in my opinion, and reclaim this trend line. Why? Because let's look at our monthly and what we can see here. The previous monthly candle was very strong and bullish after we lost this set of global supports, trend lines, and counter trend lines as support. After we recovered it, the buyback is huge. And if you look at the candle, it is not a reversal green candle. It is a bullish green candle, actually. So we need to hold this trend line, and if it continues to be bullish here, and there are reasons on the crypto market, we can see there are reasons for dollar to continue the upside movement. And if we are able to flip 105.18 here, somewhere here, then this monthly is going to close with another candle of the same size, green one, where it is going to reach 109. This is what I'm expecting. This is the bullish scenario for dollar, and you understand it well. It is the opposite situation for the crypto. And the crypto, as long as it holds $22,000, as you can see, we will enable our 730 EMA, and we are relying precisely upon this. As you can see, 22,000 is our support of last resort here. We drop it, we fall until at least until 20,500, in my opinion. Here, somewhere here, somewhere there. As you can see, if we lose it, for now we are holding it, but the situation is edgy, in my opinion, and we have the reasons to fall further because we lost this trend line already, and the next one is this one. So definitely we have to pay attention to that. Let's look at our 2020 chart, and what we can see here with this global trend line that we were taking into consideration all this time. As you can see, we are having this midterm support here. Let's mark it in the different color, I guess. I don't know, so it would be different. And we kind of staying upon this support, but if we lose it, a lot of people will think then, and I see a lot of claims already that some people think that we are going to 40,000, and they have all the right to consider that, and the others are expecting for marking at least the current lows somewhere there, or to go finally to 14,000 that we expected before. And I think we are not getting either of these scenarios in the closest time, because the market maker knows what we are expecting, because I know some smart people, and they are telling that probably we are drawing some kind of week of accumulation that is going to be a very long time, will take a long time to draw and form that accumulation, and that makes sense. I warned you about it many times in 2022 before, when we only first time we lost $20,000. I told you that the situation is bad, and the accumulation process is going to take much longer than everybody expects. It is not going to be that easy like it was in 2018, 2019, 2020. So basically, prepare yourself for the lasting bear market, crypto winter. Not bear, but the accumulation is going to take a long time if the regulation and adoption is really happening, and huge money are entering of the financial traditional financial markets are entering. They will need a lot of time to accumulate, but I think they understand, if a lot of people understand that we are in the accumulation week of some kind of formation, then definitely they will try to mess us up and will try to destroy these kind of setups. So definitely this trend line that is that I have from 2019, it still runs here and helps me a lot to understand the actual global situation of the Bitcoin, what is going on, and there is the possibility that if we lose this 22,000 support, we will find the next support somewhere around 19,500, 2,500, and then we will start the recovery again. This is the diagonal trend line that is helpful very much. As long if we lose it and close below it, then it is a bad situation again, and we finally opening for the worst scenario again. So definitely this is the trend line to watch here. Okay, let's finish with Bitcoin and look at some altcoins that we are going to need, because they look some very bearish, and that is why I explain my kind of local or small bias towards the further descending. Let's look at the DYDX. What you can see here, this is what I shared today and a few days ago, the previous week, I guess. And definitely I was telling you, look how many interesting situations here. We had this precise range resistance, and we were longing upon the break of this range resistance, and it worked perfectly and gave us some profit. On Twitter we were discussing it, but we were breaking it to the downside here. It is okay, and after that I told you that and drew you this yellow resistance box, or support box, and I told you if we lose it finally, and I drew this $2.30. If we lose it and close below it, then we are dropping lower, and we finally, although we still holding it, this yellow box, let's extend it to lower a little bit. Although we still hold it, the situation looks kind of not in a bullish, not bullish actually here, because we have this counter trend line, again this triangle that we held as support, resistance here, this cross we have, and to become again bullish we need to flip this all and reclaim this range line as support, then we are going to be bullish. But I don't think we have enough power at this point. At this point we have already locally lost the Kijun as support, and if today we are going to mark this resistance and get rejected and we dive back under this Kijun as, and it becomes our resistance again, we dive under it and close under it upon the daily 4-hour time frame, then it is done, and we probably are going to go lower until $2, 190, 180 in my opinion. So definitely I'm expecting this scenario, and if you have a chance, the price comes to 258, 260, 262, 264, somewhere there, you will follow the reaction at that point. And if you see at least on 1 hour, 4-hour time frame the rejection here and some kind of red engulfing candle, then definitely it is a good chance to enter a short, in my opinion, and I'm going to try it and take it. This is a good risk to reward, and the formation still remains bearish until we invalidate it, as we mentioned. So definitely follow this one. It is a good setup, the same kind of the same as SUSHI we had recently. If you followed my Twitter account, this is what I was talking about. I told you that if we dive under this pink line, then we are becoming bearish. Definitely, most likely we are going lower, and as you can see, this is what happened. This is actually what happened, and I told you to follow the Kijun. It was my latest video on YouTube, you can check it out. And the moment we dived, we were set to open the price under the Kijun, it has become our resistance. And I told you each time, and I told you in my previous video that probably we are going to recover until at least 134 as resistance, and maybe we'll try to retest this trend line as resistance, and we will reverse there. And look at how precisely it worked. Even if you would enter from the Kijun resistance 134, you would have to wait a little bit to see the reaction from the trend line. And as soon as you see the rejection, you are convinced that we are reversing and going lower. And it was only 10 to 20% chance that we would flip it, only if we would break it and it would become a support again, it would become bullish. But we didn't, and I told you that the chance is very low to invalidate this scenario, and I told you to wait the price of SUSHI from these areas. If you enter some short here from this Kijun and this trend line, to wait at least at 120 or 119, and you can see that we came precisely 118, 119, 120. This is what I was talking in my previous video. And now what we having, now probably some kind of local recovery, and then we continue to go lower to my targets at $1.08, $1.05, somewhere there. I think SUSHI is still set to go lower, because if you look at the higher time frame, what you can see here, no matter how the company is trying right now to change the situation into in favor of the company of SUSHI, it still remains kind of bullish, because it failed to mark, compared to other assets, to mark a higher high. We actually drew the higher lower high here. So basically we are actually scared right now here. If you are holding SUSHI, I'm holding SUSHI, but I'm not scared because I have a good entry right here, and I wouldn't be scared even if it loses its global bottom here and goes to 50-60 cents. I know what I'm going to do then. So with my holdings, I'm just going to long them as margin and increase my SUSHI holdings. That's it. Would be a great opportunity. But definitely this is a concerning situation. I'm not telling that we are going for new lows at SUSHI. This, I guess, will depend hugely on Bitcoin, but definitely I'm not selling my SUSHI. But the situation still remains that we are going to 1.215 in the coming weeks, I guess. Let's look at Ethereum, what we have here. If you followed my previous videos, I was telling you, and if you followed my Twitter account, this logarithmic chart showed me the counter trend line, the precise counter trend line, and this was even the moving average resistance precisely here. And look at this logarithmic chart. I will remove my I guess all the indicators here, so it looks precisely the range resistance, counter trend line resistance. That's it. That is why I told you, if you use your if you draw the trend lines on the regular chart, also create another chart with the logarithmic trend lines. They will help you. Usually when you form on one type of chart the trend lines and counter trend lines, you find some spots and on the chart that are not clear where the resistance or the support is, and the different type of chart will help you find the trend lines that are not existent on, for example, on a regular one. And this was a helpful, very useful resistance here, and we reversed here. Now what we are going to do here, we have to follow what is going on here. and actually we have again this support, and if Ethereum falls below 1548, definitely it is going lower until I guess 420, I guess, and lower. Still we can fall much lower from here. If you look at the monthly, we kind of set this resistance and we still can go lower, up I guess to 1270 or somewhere there. I'm not telling for a longer term, I guess. And if you look at the daily time frame, we have a great situation here. At this point on the daily time frame, we can see that Ethereum still holds its super trend support, but we have an uncovered wick here, 1460. That's what I was talking about, that we will come there sooner or later. Then we have lost our Kijun as resistance support at this moment, and we are retesting it right now. And if we fail to break it, if we get rejected here, then we are going lower. That's it. That's easy. That's a good risk to reward and spot to enter a short. If we reclaim it, and then it will become bullish. If not, then we can short it, or at least wait for some clarification or some kind of speaking candle, insightful candle that will tell us what to do. But definitely I would not want to long here into resistance. I would like to watch for some kind of outcome. Let's look at this time frame, this chart, and we still got this global trend line that we marked many times here on Ethereum. Support, although we chopped it good enough, and there is the possibility that we will come for it to retest it, and maybe after that we will break it. Let's enable our Kijun, and you can see that would be the same situation, the similar situation of breaking and Kijun becoming the weekly, the high time frame Kijun becoming our support, the same in the same manner, in the same spot of Kijun as we had on Bitcoin lately, this time when it was started to pump from 16,000. So maybe something like this is going to happen. And of course, losing this trend line and closing under it would lead us to a great fall and the recovery. And this is still possible, but not 100% possible, necessary, guaranteed that we are going to recover it. But usually I would like to recover it sooner or later, because these weeks are going to be recovered at some point, in my opinion, but not guaranteed here. And we have to follow it. This trend line is very important and useful for your high time frame planning. Let's look at the Synthetix SNX. As you can see, if you remember, as soon as Grayscale announced that they are adding Synthetix to their fund, one of their funds, I told you that it is going to go bullish very much, and this is just from my experience, and this is what happened. From 150 it made X2 here, and this global trend line, we held it, although we had this very bearish candle, and I was scared to buy it. This was only the one reason that why I didn't buy it here, because I had this candle and I was expecting it to go one leg lower, but definitely it didn't happen, and probably won't happen already. But at least after that I recorded a video where I discussed that I'm expecting, if the price comes back to 160s again to retest this global trend line support, then I would definitely buy it. And I'm not sure I'm getting it already, but definitely if the price would come there, then I would buy. And the risk to reward is worth it, because if we look at the monthly time frame, we know where the price is going to go. to $14-15 in the next few years at least. We are not expecting for the new highs. Of course, we are reasonable, but let's look at what we have here, and I shared it in my Twitter account. Definitely, we tried to the price was, and the price action was very strong during these volatility times. Synthetix was very popular in trading and open interest alongside with Optimism, but as you can see, it lost its trend line, the first one that I marked here before, and after that it started to consolidate and trade under it as resistance. We tried to break it with some local fake out, but we failed. And now what we have here, also we have this uncovered week that we left here, and we will have to recover, and that's precisely because covering this week would be a no-brainer, because we would mark this second trend line. This is the market mechanics. We lose one trend line, we fail to recover it, to reclaim it, then we go straight to the next one, and whatever. So definitely, and we have Kijun support, it's here too. Let's look at the super trend, also it is going to be somewhere here too. So definitely a precise spot that we are expecting at around 265 at least. So, and also it is on a high time frame, so we figured already that we are going back to 265 at least. And what we have here, and these are the two scenarios that I marked today. We had this a little bit of not very aggressive, but a long resistance candle here, and I told you that there are a few scenarios that I'm expecting to have here. Let me just find out. Probably we are going to do something like that. We'll try to recover, but definitely the price will be back. It was clear at that time. If we find here the support, we'll try the recovery. Still will go back down, maybe with if Bitcoin shows some upside move up to this one, but I don't think the price goes higher than this. So basically, if the price comes for the retest at these levels up to 320, I would take a short, juicy one, and would expect the price at least to $3 and eventually to 270, 265. But I think if we are not getting back immediately, soon, if the price won't bounce but continues to go only down, of course we won't be able to enter that short. It would be too late to enter that. Definitely you should, if you open a long or short, you should know and open position in the safe spots, not in whenever you want and whatever you feel comfortable or fit. The next one, I would like to warn you about BitDAO stocking. Definitely I think that you should not buy it in the closest time, because as you can see precisely, it marked its super trend resistance here, retested, got rejected. Easy, guys. With these indicators I use, it is easy to understand here. We failed to break it, and we confirmed that the trend continues for BitDAO. And usually if we would look at this situation in our usual rules, it means that the trend continues, but we don't know how long it is going to continue. I was expecting BitDAO talking and was ready to buy it around 20 cents or 18-20 cents, who knows, but the price didn't get there, only to 28 cents, and started the recovery. The news and monthly network launch on the testnet and all the fuss has driven the price up, but I don't think BitDAO has started its bull run yet. And this candle, this rejection, this candle with the red wick shows me that we having these inefficiencies, and the liquidity lack is still there on the BitDAO token. So basically I'm expecting the price at least to come back to 39.40 cents. It is a no-brainer for me that the price will come back to that level, and maybe after that we'll start some consolidation, reclaim this Kijun. It is hard to call it the Kijun because the history is so small here, but definitely after that we can go or say that something is going to happen. Until then, if we lose it here and dive back under that range resistance, then definitely the price is going lower. So be very careful with this token at this point, but definitely you can buy it somewhere here. It won't hurt in the long run, you will be profitable, but definitely I wouldn't buy it when we have this resistance right now at 55 cents, and definitely we have this uncovered wick that we are going to cover in any case. This is about Litecoin. Very interesting situation about Litecoin. It is looking strong so far all this time because I was hoping to get some recovery here, but definitely we are not getting it. And this is not some clear place that we need the recovery here. And we had this global trend line and we started to chop under it. And we had these local trend lines that I marked here, and they worked perfectly as support and resistance since. And as you can see here, if we turn on our Kijun Sen shift, and we know that this asset is bullish because in August it has its next halving, and definitely Litecoin has gained some popularity right now because of the payments and I don't know, Lightning Network and other stuff. But definitely at this point, Litecoin is upon the Kijun support, and not only Kijun, the range support, the global range support here, second Kijun support, range support, then we have this one local trend line support, which we kind of broke already, and we are under it, and we have another trend line, local trend line support already. And if we lose this last green line and this range resistance and Kijun becomes our resistance, then we are falling up to at least 70 cents. And this is where I would already think of buying Litecoin. That would be a good spot if we hold this trend line, because after that, and it would be worth it. Why? Because if we will feel reaction anyway here. So if you place your bids here and we will bounce from here, we'll have the chance to find out, and you will place, for example, stop loss or selling order upon your entry, and you would be able simply to monitor what is going to happen next. We either to lose it and will trigger you and we dive and go lower, which is, I think, during the time scale at this moment, I think unlikely. But if we start recovering and reclaiming this Kijun support, then there is possibility that we are going to break it and go higher. Definitely this level, this global trend line support is a level worthy of your entry here. $75 is a level that is worth trying to buy and watch whether we will hold this global trend line. If not, then definitely you will sell, will see another dump, and you will buy much with higher profit. If not, then of course, but that's only if we dive under it. This is an interesting situation, wasn't interesting. Let's look at the Stargate. Yeah, very popular, very trendy right now, was very trendy, and we have this precise global trend line here, midterm trend line, I guess, and we almost marked it, and if you look at the higher time frame, I wouldn't recommend you buy it right now, because the monthly doesn't look bullish. Of course, it can start to recover. If you are interested in this asset as a long-term investment, I wouldn't recommend you to buy it right now, because the weekly looks horrible, even though we had this good correction and we have almost marked this trend line support. There's still space for Stargate to go lower, probably after the retest of this range resistance in any manner, because when you see this is an aggressive weekly engulfing candle. This one, an aggressive one. You don't want to buy at least until it plays out. And what we mean by playing out means the size of this candle. The second has to be followed with another candle, and where we get it up to 50-55 cents, and this is the range we are retesting. 50-55 cents. This is where you want to start buying already. Then it would be a good enough. We don't know when it is going to come to that area, but definitely it will. And if you look at the daily, will lay precisely. I like the situation. Why? Because I know where to short here. Even though we have this trend line support here, I think at some point we are going to, within this month or a few weeks, we are going to break it. Why and how? There are a few scenarios here. We are going to this one, retesting it, resistance, go under, lose it, go lower. That's it. Or we'll try to and meet this resistance alongside together with Kijun resistance and super trend resistance, then dive on fake out, for example, and you have these tools and you can use it for yourself very precisely, and extend this trend line, and you will see when we lose it, then definitely it is bearish for it. Definitely you have this range, resistance, you have this Kijun as resistance, and super trend are going to be as resistance too, and you will be able to find a good short entry when you see the rejection and engulfing candle on the 4-hour time frame. Go for it, and it will be worth it, because I'm pretty sure that in the coming weeks or month and a half, who knows how much it is going to take, but I think it is going to take much sooner. Within this month, we are going to see the price in this back to this, or the next month, we are going to see the price back to this zone, and that would be the one where you would be able to buy. Another reason for me to think, I guess, to still be in the bearish position, although I am not bearish. It is stupid to be bearish, but it is a good place to be, to know where to take your shorts upon any bounces, because look at the Optimism. We had this run on the news, another hype around this OP and base layer 2 related to Coinbase. We had this run, we marked the new all-time high on Optimism, but the number of Optimism tokens is very, very high. CoinMarketCap, let's look at it. Let's look at the Optimism OP. More than 4 billion tokens, and what prices are you looking at? With this kind of supply, total supply, and with a lot of incentives that Optimism airdrops a lot of their tokens as incentives for trading and using their ecosystems platforms. Definitely, the price is not going to go right now to $10 or $9 when the Bitcoin is still in the bear market. It is in the crypto winter. The situation is still shaky. Regulators are pressuring. The traditional financial market is not healthy. The interest rates hikes are continuing, and the crisis is not over yet. So basically, we have lost the trend line already here, and I marked this double top, and this was the signal for me that we are going lower. And what we have here, we lost this trend line, and we are trying to retest it. Although we, as you can see, we still hold this this super trend as support here, and super trend still bullish, and I wouldn't recommend you to. And we are retesting a very important level of resistance right here, this one. If we hold it and we get rejected and we dive under it, then definitely this Kijun will show you where to enter your short, and you will be able to enter it and ride it. And I think the price of the Optimism is going to come to 190 at some point, and at some point even at 160, maybe 145, but I'm not talking about 45. I would say 190, 160. I'm pretty sure we are coming there, because we had this precise global double top. We lost this trend line. If we do not reclaim this as support and the angle is very sharp, it is very unlikely that we will reclaim it and go for the new highs. So basically, I think we will see some rejection here. The moment we dive under this Kijun as resistance, then we become bearish, and you can take your shorts. Maybe even from this point, if you see some engulfing candle on lower time frames, like 4-hour time frame, if you see some rejection here, then definitely we have left this uncovered wick. We are going to cover it sooner or later. So basically, we see some kind of rejection here. You can enter here your short and look for the daily Kijun, whether we will dive under it. That's it. What else we are going to look at today? Uniswap. I'd like to look at it because it has got a very clear situation here. As you can see, we tried to break this Kijun as resistance, and this global range resistance here, but we got rejected precisely here. And as long as we are below 671, definitely we are probably all the bounces are for shorts, but I wouldn't try it, because Uniswap you would like to, I guess, to accumulate into your portfolio as one of the top DeFi platforms, the most capitalized probably. But I think it's still going to go lower and slide upon this at $5, maybe even lower, to slide upon this counter trend line that we broke as support, and maybe we will reclaim it at some point, or maybe we'll continue right like that. But definitely, I think it is not yet the time to buy Uniswap. I wouldn't like to short it or whatever, but still. But also I would like to talk about, I guess, I don't know, I can't find this asset here. I was adding it, but I still don't see it. I was adding, let me see it, LIDO, the popular staking mechanism here, the very popular one, and I think it is not bullish. A lot of people, it is questionable at this moment. Let's look at the highest time chart we have here, and what we see here. an interesting situation. I know some alpha influencers are longing it right now, but I would recommend you to be very careful, because we have this some kind of on the weekly time frame we have this Kijun, and if we reclaim it as support here, then definitely it will become bullish and we will continue the run. But I wouldn't like to long until we recovered and reclaim that level, because we can, if we feel this, retest this resistance of the Kijun right now, and the market and Bitcoin starts to get rejected and reverses, it is going to dump heavily up to, I guess, 195. So be very careful. Maybe after that we will start the recovery and whatever, but until that time you see that we are under Kijun, and it is not the space for me to long. Definitely not the space too long. I would wait for the confirmation. If we close above it and hold it as support, then probably we will be able to take off. But if we are still under it, it is not for longs for me. Be very careful with this one. And I guess we can say it's over, I guess.